Are you tired, frustrated, and feel stuck? Are you a high-performing business professional, entrepreneur, and you are not getting the results you desire, or you hit a ceiling? Have you been around the block and tried many modalities? You are in the right place. The answer, my friend, is in the little-known brain-soul connection. Welcome to the Brain Soul Success Show, where we learn, explore, and create your dream life. Your host, Louise Swartswalter, created a 5-part mind-body-soul methodology that clears the subconscious blocks to success. You are a soul with a body, not a body with a soul. The seed of all you need is already within you. From engaging transformational interviews, brain-soul success stories, and secrets shared by health, wellness, and spiritual experts, you will reconnect, revitalize, and transform your powerful life. It's time for you.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Brain Soul Success Show, and you're in for another amazing treat today. My guest today is Heather Hansen O Neil. She's an international keynote speaker. She's a behavior expert, and she's the author of Find Your Fire, Teams on Fire. And she's the co-author of the new Amazon bestseller, Where's the Office? So she's an amazing leadership coach that has just, she has 2 TEDx talks. She's been featured on several media platforms, and she's the host of the popular podcast From Fear to Fire and the co-creator of Focus. It's a leadership for our children's ultimate success. So this is your leadership guru right here, you guys. She's amazing. She stimulates vibrant energy, focus, and action for those who want to really collaborate effectively, lead change, and create massive results. So just welcome. I'm so excited to dive in and even learn more about your work today, Heather.
Oh, Louise, I'm thrilled to be here. I love your show, and I'm just so excited to be on it with you.
Oh, look, when I was reading even your bio, we talked before. I've seen some of your work. I can't wait for you to come here to Albuquerque, New Mexico. You'll be here in a few weeks. So good to meet you in person. But wow, you have done so many amazing things. How did you even get on this path of working with leadership and working with Fortune 100 companies?
So, it's really interesting because I was in sales at the time. I have a background in dance. Actually, my first career was that of a professional dancer. And then I'm giving you the short version. And then I was in sales, and I was golfing with one of my clients. And he's the one who talked me into starting my own business because I had this idea that the company wasn't ready for. So I started my own business, and I started, he helped tremendously because he became my first paying client. And he said, if you do a good job, I'll tell everybody. And he followed through. I did a good job, and he told everybody. And so I started working with organizations across the United States first, and now it's more international as well, in helping them with sales and customer service. But that was 25 years ago. And so since then, I've had different iterations of the business, did more coaching, do a lot more keynote speaking now, added in the inspirational side of things, wrote a couple of books. You know how it is.
That's just, what do you like to do? Like, what really feeds you?
I love working with people. I love working with people who get it, who are willing to, they want to absorb, they want to grow, they want to learn, they want to take action on the things that they say they want. I love that so much. And it's a lot of fun when they come back later and say, oh, I tried this thing and I got the job, or I got the gig, or I made the sale, or whatever it is. I love hearing that so much. But I also have a new, fairly new within the last year project that is totally sparking all of my energy. And it has to do with helping companies in the realm of finding humanity. So it's brand new. So you're the first one that I'm announcing it on your show. So I'm super stoked about that.
Oh, I love that. So explain that a little bit more, like helping companies and teams. I know you're so good with helping teams,
Yeah, I do a lot.
and this is, brain soul success. So I know you work a lot with the brain with teams,
Yes.
and helping
Mhm.
them with beliefs and everything. So tell us about your new project here, Humanity, helping them find humanity.
Sure. Well, actually, it started with me going through a difficult time when my mother got sick, and I was searching. I was searching for something to make me feel like better about everything, So I decided to have this focus, and I called it I'm finding humanity. I'm looking for humanity. And so I made a conscious effort to search, to look for times when people were kind, people were good, people were doing things to help others. And the interesting thing is that when you seek, you find, right? When you choose to look for something, when you focus on something, it manifests. So I found a lot of amazing things. I found people who were doing incredible generous acts, people helping people all over the world. And at a time mid-pandemic, like I said, my mother was ill, at a time when I needed the lift. Oh my gosh, I found so much to lift me. And I realized that there is a change that's going on in the world. And I did a lot of research. I took this idea back to the companies that I was working with. And I said, what do you think about this? And I started to research successful companies who were socially conscious companies.
Oh, cool.
And saw that it has actually a direct correlation to profitability. So when you do good, it comes back. It's like this karmic thing. And so that's the short. I could talk about that all day, but that's the abridged version. And there is a lot of proof that when you incorporate it into the company, it increases the morale of the employees, the relationships with your clients, and ultimately profitability.
Oh, that makes so much sense because I at all my events I always and I tithe and regularly,
Yes.
but I call it the God loop. When you give, it comes back. It's like giving and receiving, giving and receiving. So it's just creating that God loop. So that makes sense that it's tied to profitability. Give us some insights into how you would work with a team. So if you go into a company and you're really having to work on creating morale, creating team, maybe it's just really, I'm just thinking of listening to my own even family members talk about the places they've worked. And sometimes the stuff that happens between people and the personality issues and everything. How do you do that?
Well, okay, so there's a lot of different ways, but you're right. There is such a need. And now that leaders have to figure out how to lead teams in many different environments, which is the whole point of the Where's the Office book, right? Are we leading in person? Are we leading remotely, virtual teams? Are we, so there's even more opportunity to miscommunicate. So I do a lot with assessments, behavioral assessments like DISC, but one of the biggest things that I've been using with sales teams in particular to great success is, and one of my TED Talks is actually about this, and it has to do with my work on behavioral change. And it is this recognition that, tie it into the brain for you, because your listeners love what you do in talking about that connection. So the brain is pretty amazing, and it tries to help you, and it tries to save you, and it create pathways that are easier for you. But sometimes in doing that, it may inadvertently hinder you. So what happens is, if you're exposed to a belief system or a judgment, some type of a bias or an assumption that's been made, and it could be passed down from generation to generation, right? And there's this belief system. It could come from family, it could come from media, it could come from coaches, peers, whoever. It comes from the world around us. And we're taught this belief, and maybe a pattern, a way of doing things. And sometimes our brain makes it easy for us by having that be a fallback position. When we have to make a decision in order to make a quick decision, sometimes we will fall back on an old belief system. And, the world is busy. The world is distracted. We are all unbelievably distracted.
Yes.
And so we don't take the time to become conscious of these beliefs, judgments, assumptions, and fears that guide our behaviors. And so what I do is I go in and I help people become more aware of the beliefs. And I have a set of 3 questions that they can ask of these beliefs so that they can decide. They can consciously choose which beliefs to hold on to because they are serving them, and which beliefs to let go of to create space to add in more empowering beliefs that will serve them and others better.
Oh, that's beautiful. I do a lot of that myself, but differently. So,
Yeah.
it's an intuitive process where I'm actually going in and figuring out the ancestral programs, the belief of
Mm.
fear, the belief of, non-confidence, low self-esteem or whatever it is, and we clear it.
Oh, I love
So
that.
we're clearing the blocks to success, so
Mhm.
we're clearing those patterns and we're clearing it at the brain and the soul level.
Oh, beautiful.
So, and coupled with your teaching, so doing those kinds of things together is what I see is really catapults people
Oh,
forward
yes.
big time, because we all are going to have belief patterns from the past, when we all carry ancestral energy. And right now it's coming up to clear so big. COVID brought it to a huge head. We're all having to look more at ourselves, deep within ourselves, and change those patterns. So your work right now for companies, especially as they also had to sort of pivot through this whole time,
Mhm.
is so timely and so important.
It is, and you know what? It's finally getting to the point where it's also appreciated. Like, people know that this science has been around for a long time. You know this. You've been doing this, but people are realizing the time is right. People are done being stressed out and ineffective, and they just want the change. They want to feel better, and they
Yeah,
want
they
to be
want to
more
feel.
productive and effective.
Yeah, they do want to feel better. Yeah. And
Mhm.
those meaningful relationships in the world of work are so important for people.
Yes,
So,
yes,
I know you travel all over,
yes.
working with different companies, leading retreats,
Mhm.
helping them develop their programs and systemize their programs. You have multiple skills. It's not just about, teaching leadership. And, give us an example of some, company or some, something somebody you worked with would, that really shifted things for them, and it made a great outcome for them or for the company or for that team.
Well, I am very, very blessed, very lucky that I get to work with amazing people all the time, right? And so I do
Mhm.
consider I'm very grateful for this opportunity. So I could pick out a bunch of stories, but I just had one that came back. It did that circle and it came back, right? So I was working with an amazing woman who we've been through different things together. So she came to see me speak many years ago, and then she became she referred me into some business, and then she became a client. And so it's been like all these different ways that we've connected, and then we became friends, and she's just a lovely, lovely woman. And so one of the things that it came back was that she was working when she moved from the planning world. So when she had hired me to come in and speak somewhere, right? So
Mhm.
she was in the meeting planning world, but then she decided to go out on her own. And that's when it happened. That's when some of these underlying beliefs, we learn how to function, how to be really successful with all of this. But when you go out on your own and you need different tools and different level of leadership and awareness to be able to go out in the world, she uncovered that some things that she grew up with caused an element of, we'll call it the rabbit hole, an element of self-doubt
Mhm.
that could spiral out of control at times, right?
Mhm.
And And she just like last week, it was literally a week ago, I was having a conversation with her and we were talking about a new project that she wanted to take on. And it was much bigger than she thought that she could. And, she said it was going to be very stressful, very crazy. And then she stopped and she goes, oh my gosh, it just came to me. And this is something we've spoken about for years. So it was an aha moment years later. And she said, I can do my best, but I don't have to be attached to what they do with the information that I give them. And that is a light bulb moment.
Yes.
Because for many people, we become very attached and we allow external situations, how other people feel, what they want, pandemics, the weather. We allow other things to infect our state all the time. And as long as we are doing our best, when we can release our attachment to what other people do with it or what happens outside of us, that is one of the most freeing things that you can do. And you should have seen her face. We were on a Zoom and her face was like it illuminated with this awareness of the power that she had. It was beautiful.
I love those light bulb moments. That's such a great description, and I found that that's true with so many things. That's a manifesting technique that I teach. It's like holding strong intention, but being detached from the outcome. It's like you've got to let go.
Yeah.
So many things is about, letting go. Literally. And it's harder to do, easier to talk about.
Oh, yeah. It's way easier for me to tell other people. But then I have to remind myself sometimes when I'm holding on too tight, and I have to remind myself, you know what, Heather, you would be telling someone else at this moment to let it go. And so, we have to.
It's a challenge for all of us. I remember being on a Zoom call with my mastermind group, and one of our members said, hey, can you teach us to let go? And I mean, everyone froze, like I did too in that moment. I was like, oh, I said, when I learned to do that, I guess I could maybe teach it, but right now I'm not there yet. So I still remember that moment. Then I was given the challenge, how God works. I was given the challenge then to do that.
Yes.
Right.
And you took it on.
Yeah. We have to sometimes,
Yeah, the world needed it. They needed you.
Yeah. So, we just had to keep working on it. So what have been some of the challenges in your life? So if I said, hey, Heather, where were you feeling? Was there a time in your life where you felt like, hey, my brain doesn't work. This is awful. I can't get myself together, or, a challenging time in your life? What might that be?
Yeah. Now, once again, there's unfortunately quite a few examples that I could give you because we're human, right? But I will give you one that was that I continue to learn from and reference, even though it was like 900 years ago. So I mentioned that my first career was that of a professional dancer. So I was at the height of my career. Things were going amazingly well. And I had just gotten a role that was a to die for role, right? I was just so excited. And I was in a rehearsal and I did a grand jeté and I came down and you heard a crack and I kind of crumbled to the ground and all the dancers stopped. It's a sound that you never want to hear. And long story short, I went to a doctor and they told me that I would never dance again, that I had injured my foot so badly that I would never dance again.
Oh.
And at first I believed him. And so what followed was that I stopped dancing. I ended up going back to school because I had, when I was dancing, I had given up a couple of college scholarships so that I could dance because it's a short-lived career, right? So I went back to school, but I call these years my dark years, right? So this is when I allowed the removal of the joy in my life. Like I loved to dance, right? I loved to dance. I was so passionate about it. I was so like, it was everything. And then that being taken away would just cause me to see the world in a different way. I'm a fairly optimistic person, and I was viewing the world in a much different way.
Mhm.
But then one day, I had a coach, a mentor who said something to me that I'll never forget. She said, "Well, what if that doctor wasn't right?" And I'm like, "What do you mean?" Because I was taught, yeah, you get to respect authorities, and it's a doctor. I don't know better than the doctor. Like, but what if she planted a seed for me? What if that doctor wasn't right? And I couldn't let it go. I mean, I would think about this at 3 o'clock in the morning. What if the doctor wasn't right?
Oh,
So, so I started to go back and take classes again. And I realized that she was right. The doctor wasn't right, meaning that I couldn't do point work anymore, but I
mhm.
could still dance. And I went back and, I got back in shape. I started dancing. I danced again professionally for a period of time. I dance to this day.
That's
And
awesome.
I took back the joy.
Uh-huh.
But it was years that I had given that up. And I think that the main thing that I think about and how this guides me and how maybe it could help your listeners is to remember who you are, to remember what you've overcome in the past, and to know that anything that you're facing now, you have the tools to figure it out. You have the tools to get back up. You have the tools to do what you have to do to move forward because you have experienced things. We've all had these things, right? I mean, you ask people this, we all have
Mhm.
answers to that question.
Yes, yes, we all do. We all have those challenges. And I love how you pulled yourself back up and then decided, hey, I'm going to dance again. But yeah, I mean, you must have had a lot of, just a lot of feelings too, roaming around about that. Just really, like you
Mhm.
said, it was sort of your dark, was taken away from you. That's loss,
It
you
was, it
know?
was, it was definitely a grieving process that I.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, so you had to go through that. And what part of that was also sort of a spiritual journey? I think about the brain and the soul. So I think of brain, heart, gut connection.
Mhm.
And often when I listen to people's stories, I can like intuitively sort of see it. Um, but asking the question always just brings up more of the feelings and bubbles up more like good information, like things people can attach to, so it helps them in their life you know
Mhm.
so like what happened at that time that you were feeling so grieving the loss of your joy, your love, wanting to dance and get out there. um did you have any spiritual practices? How did it affect you spiritually, or what did you do?
Well, I've all right, so I'm going to let you in on one more. So you get like a bonus challenge in my,
Okay.
okay?
Okay.
So,
uh,
so I am a very intuitive spiritual person.
mhm.
However, it took a certain path to get here, right?
Okay.
So I have always been intuitive, but for many, many years I suppressed it because in
Mhm.
my experience, there was this connection with people that I knew who were highly intuitive, sensitive, and spiritual, that they were also just a little wacky, a little crazy, right? And so I made this assumption in my mind. I made the connection that one equaled the other. A plus B equals C. And
Okay.
that's not true, right? They're
Mhm.
completely separate. And so I had squashed, I kept suppressing. Anytime I was intuitive about something, I would say, oh, that doesn't mean anything. But it happened enough times where when I didn't follow my gut, those were the times when something bad happened. Right. And every time I did follow my gut, that's when all the good stuff happened in the world, right? And it happened enough times that I started to question and learn the lesson. Well, maybe they're not connected. And that's when I started to listen. That's when I started to listen to myself, to my heart. You mentioned about heart, right? Your soul. And everything changed. That's when I realized that that within me and all around me is these God moments, right? That
Mhm.
voice, that connection to something bigger, something deeper, something miraculous. And I feel that now. I cultivate that every day. Like I take a walk on the beach at sunrise every day. And I feel so incredibly connected to spirit, to the universe, to everyone, right? And it sets up the whole rest of my day in a much better way.
That's beautiful. And thank you for sharing that with us. I see that a lot. I do attract the people who are empaths and intuitive but I see that a lot. It's like learning the lesson, trusting it. I remember when I was first doing biofeedback, people would come back, after 3 or 4 or 5 sessions, and they'd be like, I just had to go do this thing because my gut said I was supposed to. And then I knew that they arrived. In fact, I wanted to create a bumper sticker at that time that healing anything was following your intuition and trusting it. And trusting it. That's the key. And trusting it. Yeah. So kudos for you for having that awareness and listening.
It took a while, Louise.
Yeah.
It took a while.
We're human though. We're into it's the patterns, like you were talking earlier. It's those patterns of belief that we have to shift and change. And we hold them so strongly that, that it's hard to shift that sometimes. Yeah. Absolutely. Well, you've done a beautiful job with that. I can tell that you're using that, your energy, your beautiful spiritual energy, and your path in your coaching, in your teaching, when you're working, with companies and corporations and people. What a gift. I always think that, hey, if we've been given a gift, we should share it.
Yes. I totally believe that. And there are so many people out there that they have their gift still inside. It's still locked inside of them. They're not sharing it with the world. And I love to see, and I know you do this for people, you help people with this. I love to see them make that click, turn on the light switch, right?
Yes.
And how it helps them to glow when they're doing it.
Yes, absolutely. And that is just, that's my high.
Right. It's a beautiful thing.
when I see that, I just absolutely love that. Who have been some of your coaches and mentors along the way in your journey?
Well, I feel like I learned something from everyone, but 2 in particular. There was the first mentor who told me that I should start a business because I didn't even realize that was a thing. I didn't grow up in a home full of entrepreneurs. I didn't know that was an option even. And so that was a huge mentor for me. But then also my co-author in the first 2 books that I wrote I did on my own. And this last one, Where's the Office, I wrote with Will Lewis. Now, Will just turned 93.
Oh, very cool.
93.
Wow.
This man is the most curious person you will ever meet. He is constantly reading and recommending books to me. He's constantly meeting with people, learning from people, researching. It's incredible. It's absolutely incredible. And as much as he knows and as much experience as he's had, he's always open to a new idea, to a new concept. And I've learned to come back to that since we met and since we started working on this book, because I used to be a lot more curious. And then you get to this point where you're like, okay, I'm doing okay. And I know what I'm doing, but it is such a more fun journey to think more about what you don't know and come from a place of learning and growth. It's just leaps and bounds.
Yes. Wow. And what a great mentor and, co-author of your book to work with someone like that. I always think there's so much wisdom with people who are older than us, even when we were in 5th grade and we were supposed to go interview the grandma down the street,
Yeah.
I still remember that assignment, I think, that we were given.
Oh, that's awesome.
Because they have such wisdom, and as I'm getting older here too, I realize, hey, some of my amazing mentors were definitely, light years ahead of me. And I learned so much and so grateful for them. So that's really beautiful. Then we've got to get your book. How can we get your new book?
Well, let's see. Where's the office.com? We'll take you there. That's the easiest. And you can find me, Heather Hansen O'Neil, just like anywhere on any social media, anything, just putting in Heather Hansen O'Neil, and you'll find the book there too. And Amazon, of course, and Barnes and Noble and all of that.
Oh, that's so awesome. That is so awesome. And who is this book really for? Who would you say is the best, best audience for your book?
So it is for anyone who thinks that maybe, just maybe, there is a leader within them, because the answer to the question, where's the office, is the office is within you. And so it is written for leaders, and there are a lot of examples of leaders in the corporate world, but it's for anyone who wants to lead themselves better, who wants to lead a community initiative, their family, their team, their company. So it's anyone who wants to come back to the power that they have within them to lead.
Oh, that's beautiful. Yay. How awesome. I have to get your book now. I'm so excited.
I'll send you.
I'm really excited about that, because I feel like there's a leader in all of us, and people have, especially entrepreneurs that I work with, we're all looking at least this is maybe my perspective, at ways to up that, what's the next level, here we arrive somewhere, and then it's like, okay, what's the next level of leadership that I can step into, as we're all on this path of self-growth. And learning.
What's the next level? Love that.
Yeah. And it's such a beautiful path to be on. If there was anything you could do differently, like if you're going to start over again, what would you do differently or advise people here to do?
Trust yourself. We talked about trust, the importance of that trust. And I would have liked to have told myself that, my younger self, that earlier. I grew up with a strong sense of wanting to please others. And, sometimes when I was younger, that would cause me to try to be something that I wasn't. And the more that I trusted who I really am, the more that I came to appreciate and love who I really am. That made me show up so much better for other people, as opposed to trying to be something that I thought they wanted.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. And if we were going to leave let me ask another question. When you're not working, okay, when you're not, in your realm of working, you're not coaching. I know you travel a lot and everything, and I know you like to walk on the beach, but what does Heather like to do in her free time?
Oh my goodness. So I am an adventure junkie. So I love doing crazy adventures. I love traveling for things besides work. I love jumping out of airplanes, flying on the trapeze, swimming with sharks, doing crazy adventures. So that's a big one. But also, I love to squeeze the joy out of the day, right? And when I find myself, I work a lot. I'm very serious about my work. But when I get so serious about it and I forget to squeeze the joy out of the day, I'm not as productive as when I take the time to go on a motorcycle ride, or to go and do something just fun and joyful, find a new restaurant, whatever it might be. For me, that energizes me, so that when I come back to it, I am so much more effective, time efficient, productive. There's a flow about the creative ideas that I have. So it's definitely worth the time that I've taken to feed that within me. Than if I just, tried to muscle through and, keep working. That's me. I'm a little nutty.
I love it. That is awesome. That's really awesome. And yes, finding the joy in every day makes a lot of sense. Such great advice too. So if you're listening and you're someone who's probably like Heather and myself, we like to work a lot. We love what we do. I want to encourage you to, have some joy in your day. I always say, even if it's just a cup of herbal tea and you take 10 minutes, whatever that is, just do it.
Yeah, or it certainly can be herbal tea. You don't have to jump out of an airplane, folks.
Right. I put flowers behind my computer. So my garden looks really beautiful right now. So I have a bouquet of flowers right behind my computer. So I can look at them,
Oh, look at that's so cute. Look.
Oh, look at that. So, I was like, let's bring the outside in. Why not?
I love it.
Yeah, so we can be looking at that all day. Oh, this has been so delightful. I learned so much, and I'm sure our audience got a lot of amazing tidbits here. And definitely you want to get Heather's book and check out Heather Hansen O Neil. Where's the Office is her newest book. It's got some great TED Talks out there too, so you can look those up under her name. And Heather, if you were going to leave our audience with one brain tip, what would that be?
Breathing.
Breathing.
Okay. Well, here's the thing. I think that I would tell them to turn down the volume on the noise around them. And so that may, for some of us out there who are comfortable with the word meditation, that might mean, getting quiet and meditating. It could just mean quieting the external noise so that you can turn up the volume on your heart. Right? Listen to you, to your heart. And that's where that trust that I mentioned comes from. And so that's what I would say. Turn down the noise sometimes from time to time outside of you.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you so much. Thank you for being with us today. It was awesome. Thank you for sharing your wisdom, your gifts, your insights. I'm sure I learned a lot. Our audience here, I'm sure is going to appreciate this. And again, definitely check out her TED Talks, her books here to help you find that leader within you.
Thank you, Louise, and keep doing what you do. It's amazing.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I can't wait to meet you when you come here. So we'll see you in a few weeks. Okay. Yay. Well, have a good day, everyone. And until next time, remember, follow your heart and take your brain with you.